The moment she walked through the door, the scent hit me, sharp, disorienting, and unmistakably wrong. It wasn't the soft floral perfume she always wore, the one that had practically become her signature. This was different. This was mine. The same cologne I'd used for years, now clinging to her like an accusation. "Welcome home," I managed to say, each syllable scraping its way up like shards of glass. "How was the trip, Sarah?" Her smile was too perfect, stretched too tightly over something brittle. "Amazing," she said, too brightly. "We had so much fun. You wouldn't believe it." She dropped her weekend bag with a heavy thud that echoed through the house. The sound rang louder than it should have, bouncing off walls that used to feel like home. This so-called girls' weekend had always gnawed at my thoughts. The late-night whispers, the careful tilt of her phone screen, the way her eyes darted away when I asked questions, it had all piled up quietly in my mind. And now, the cologne, my cologne. On her skin was the final piece, slotting into place with a sickening certainty. I forced my expression to stay calm, though it felt like my face might crack under the strain. "Glad you had a good time," I said, the lie slipping out smoother than it should have. "Dinner's almost done." She moved through the kitchen with practiced ease, the same way she always did. The kitchen we designed together, agonizing over tile samples and cabinet choices. A room built from shared memories, now tainted. I watched her closely, her familiar gestures suddenly foreign. The way she poured the wine, chopped vegetables, set the table, it all seemed off, like watching an impersonation of the woman I married. Dinner was a performance. We talked about the weather, her latest office gossip, the faucet that still leaked in the guest bathroom. Everything except the truth. My stomach tightened with every passing minute, coiling tighter with each fake smile and shallow laugh. I couldn't stop picturing it. Her, entangled with someone else. And now, his scent, his presence, lingering in our space, on my wife. I wanted to break something. To shout. To shake the walls until they told me what really happened. But I didn't. I stayed silent, stewing in something cold and focused. I needed more than instinct. I needed something concrete. When she went upstairs to unpack, I slipped into the closet, the only space in the house that still felt like mine. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. Maybe just a moment to breathe. But then I saw it. Buried beneath her pile of winter scarves, a jacket. Not mine. Leather, expensive looking, and unmistakably unfamiliar. I pulled it out like it might explode. It smelled of sandalwood and something steely, metallic. Undeniably masculine. My hands trembled as I held it. It was too real. Too solid. Proof in the form of stitching and scent. The room spun as I backed away, my legs barely steady. I let the jacket fall to the floor and stared at it like it could answer the questions she wouldn't. My vision blurred. My breath faltered. My chest felt like it was collapsing inward. I sank to the ground, back against the door, heartbeat shattered and scattered across the closet floor. No tears came. No scream tore loose. Just a numbing void that swept through me like a drug. It dulled the edge of everything. And in that strange, heavy stillness, something else stirred. A quiet clarity. The next morning, I put on the mask again. Got dressed, went to work, replied to emails. Even laughed at a joke someone made by the coffee machine. But deep inside, something had shifted. A fire smoldered just beneath the surface, quiet, controlled, and ready. She had no idea. No clue what was coming. The grip she had on our lives tightened, suffocating in its quiet persistence. It wasn't just big arguments anymore, it seeped into petty things, like laundry. She snapped about me mixing lights and darks again. The nerve of it stung, but I stayed silent. Just nodded, smiled, let her think she won. Saturday arrived. I told her I'd be late at work. That was a lie. I drove to the gym instead, poured every ounce of frustration into the weights. Each rep became a vow to myself. Each breath, a promise I wouldn't fall apart. I wouldn't meet her betrayal with chaos. I'd meet it with control. With clarity. As the sun dipped, casting long shadows across the city, I parked a few blocks from her building. I knew her schedule. Knew he'd be there. I waited in the dark, my eyes trained on the lobby's reflective glass doors. And then, he appeared. Tall, cocky, wrapped in that same leather jacket like it gave him permission to be smug. He moved with the ease of a man who thought he'd gotten away with something. I stepped out of the shadows. "Excuse me," I said, voice cold and measured. He turned, face smug, already brushing me off. "I think you're mistaken." I reached into my pocket and gave him reality. A printed photo I pulled from her phone, his arm around her, her eyes lit up with thrill, as if nothing else mattered. Recognition flickered in his eyes. "Nice jacket," I said. "My wife seems to like your style. Makes me wonder what else of mine you've tried on." His gaze darted, hunting for a way out. I didn't wait. Dragged him into the alley. What followed wasn't elegant. It was quick, brutal, raw. Each strike a release of months of silent pain. He barely fought back. His bravado crumbled in seconds. By the time I was done, his breath came in wheezes, and the leather jacket looked more like a joke than armor. I knelt beside him, voice low but lethal. "Stay away from her, or next time, I don't stop." His phone shattered under my boot like brittle bone. Back home, she was curled on the couch, pretending everything was normal. "Where were you?" "I was worried," she asked, voice tinged with annoyance. I didn't answer. Just walked into the bedroom, pulled out her suitcase, dropped it open on the bed. Then the jacket. Then the photo. One after the other. Truth laid bare. She faltered. Stammered excuses. "It's not what it looks like. Just a friend. A misunderstanding." But her lies collapsed. Couldn't stand up to what I already knew. "I'm done," I said, calm and final. "You're leaving tonight." She begged. Sobbed. Promised change. But it was too late. Her tears no longer meant anything. I stood still as she packed, unmoved. I wasn't there to help. I wasn't there to comfort. She didn't earn that. When she left, I watched her walk out, not the same woman I once loved, but a stranger wearing her face, worn and exposed. The silence she left behind was heavy, but honest. I didn't feel peace. Not exactly. But I felt power. She broke something in me. But from those shards, I built something else, stronger, clearer. And in that quiet, I stood not as a victim of betrayal, but as the man who refused to let it define him.